Hi, welcome to Served with Love. I'm Chef Jared Johnson, Food Services Manager for the Philadelphia Ronald McDonald House. Here at the Philadelphia Ronald McDonald House, we provide a community of comfort and hope for families of seriously ill children being cared for in local hospitals. We couldn't do what we do here at the Ronald McDonald House without the help of our great sponsors. Thank you so much to Zurich for sponsoring our first episode of Served with Love. So here at the Ronald McDonald House, we provide a lot of programs for our families. We have lodging and shelter for our families. We provide social work and family services, and we also have a food services program. And our food services program was backed by a lot of volunteers and what we called guest chefs who came in and provided the food every night with the help of our culinary team here at the house. And since COVID-19, we haven't really had the opportunity to work with our guest chefs, and we thought we'd develop this show where we could reach out to all of our volunteers and guest chefs and people that are connected to the house and talk a little bit about some of the things we talked about when we were working with the guest chefs and teaching good lessons and trying to give some helpful tips with how we do things here in the kitchen. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about grilling. We're going to talk about grilling over direct heat, and we're going to talk about grilling over indirect heat. And so what I mean by that is, like it sounds, if you're grilling over direct heat, that means you're grilling directly over the flame. And if you're grilling with indirect heat, that means you're grilling off of the flame or in between two flames. And it really doesn't matter whether you're working with a gas grill or charcoal grill. You just want to make sure that however you're setting up your heat, whether it's direct cooking or indirect cooking, that it's set up the way that you want it. So, for example, on our grill here, this is a gas grill. We have a large cooking surface with 3 burners. And so what I have is the outside burners set up on like medium-high heat. And I have the burner in the middle not on at all. And what we're going to do today for our spatchcock chicken is we're going to start it with direct heat right over top of the hot flame. And then we're going to move it to indirect heat to finish the cooking process for today. And the way we have it set up, this grill is going to cook at about 350 to 375 degrees. Very similar to how you would cook a chicken at home in your oven. So, to spatchcock your chicken, we have this beautiful chicken here today. Spatchcocking is simply removing the backbone of the chicken so that it can lay flat. And this was something that was designed really for small birds, game hens, Cornish hens, things like that. But it works really great with chicken. So to do it, you take your whole chicken. First thing that you want to do is make sure that you pat it really dry. Once you get it out of the packaging, you want to make sure that there's no giblets or anything on the inside. And you want to take a paper towel and pat it really dry so it's dry all the way through. So chicken's nice and dry here. We're going to turn it over. And just like a person, the chicken has a spine that runs right down the back. And so we're going to remove that spine. You can remove it with a knife, but it's best to do it with kitchen shears. So what we do is we start just on the outside of the spine. The tail is right here, or the neck is right here. And you're just going to want to start to cut. And you just cut straight down, trying to keep it as close as possible to the spine. And you go all the way through until you come out the back side. And then you take the scissors and you move it over to the other side, just on the outside of the spine again. And the shears cut right through it. And there's your spine. And what you want to do is you set this aside. Here at the Ronald McDonald House, we try to make stocks from scratch. And so spatchcocking chickens is a great way to feed the families, but also allows us to use these chicken backs to make stocks. And we'll have a future episode on that. Once you have that done, your chicken is still not quite ready to lay flat, but you can see how it's open, and I've exposed the breastplate. So right here is the sternum. You want to take your knife, and just on the tip of the sternum, can you see that? Just on the tip of the sternum, you want to put a little slice. And then you gently pop the sternum open and expose that breastbone right here. Now, when I do chickens like this, I like to keep the breastbone in. You could easily take it out if you wanted to, but I like to keep the breastbone in because it's going to make it nice and juicy for our final presentation here today. So now this chicken will lay nice and flat. What we want to do is put a spice rub on it. We're going to do a North Alabama style barbecue chicken here today. And in North Alabama, they make this great barbecue sauce that they really only do in one area, right around that Muscle Shoals area of Alabama, that's made with mayonnaise and white vinegar. And we'll show that when this chicken's done a little bit later. But we're going to put a spice rub all over this. When you're working with raw chicken, you want to make sure that you're protecting your area. I have parchment paper down, and then I also have plastic down on the top of the table, so we can very easily clean this up and move on to the next thing when we're done, so we make sure that we're nice and sanitary as we go along. This is the spice rub that we're going to use. This is a spice rub that we make here in-house. It has things like cumin and smoked paprika, coriander, brown sugar, salt and pepper. I've already separated some of this spice rub because I've touched the chicken now, and so I'm going to get in and rub this chicken all up, but any of this spice rub that's in the container, we're just going to get rid of at the end because it's been contaminated by my chicken hands. So we're just going to go ahead and start rubbing our chicken down. You want to make sure you get the spice rub all over the chicken. You can do this liberally. Make sure it gets everywhere, all around. We have a kitchen navigator here at the house. Kitchen navigator is a volunteer who works with the kitchen team and helps our guest chefs to produce the dinners every night. We have a kitchen navigator by the name of Mike Schuessler, who's a real character, loves to entertain our guest chefs when they're in, and he loves Spatchcock chicken. He can't wait. He checks in with our team, Quadir and Chef Patrick, every time he comes in to see if we're doing Spatchcock chicken. So today's Spatchcock chicken's for you, Mike Schuessler. All right, so now that we have it all rubbed down, I'm going to remove my gloves. Like I said, our grill temperature is about 400 degrees. You want to kind of keep it somewhere between 350 and 400. Take our tongs, and we're going to start the chicken, like I said, skin side down, right over the direct heat. Makes a nice sear when you put it down. What we're trying to do is just seal in some of that flavor, put a little char on the skin. We'll move it around a little bit, maybe spend not even 5 minutes right there on that section. Give us an opportunity to get our area cleaned up here, and then we'll move it over to the center for indirect cooking. So our chicken's been on the direct heat for about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And right now we're going to gently move it from where it is on the direct heat after it's got that nice sear and char over to the indirect heat, and we're going to let it go for the rest of the cooking time. So you just gently get under there. Don't worry if you break the skin. It's okay. The chicken will hold up just fine. And so now you see we have a great sear on the outside of the chicken, a little bit of char, a little bit of broken skin, but that's okay. Everything's going to seal in there nice. So the chicken's set up on indirect cooking now. No flame on directly underneath the chicken. The flame's on either side of the chicken. We're going to close the grill, and we're just going to let that go. Chicken about this size is going to take about 1 hour and 15 minutes. This chicken was almost 5 pounds. If you're doing a 3.5 to 4 pound chicken, you'll have it done in less than an hour. So the second entree that we're going to do for today, while our Spatchcock chicken is working, is we're going to do bratwurst. And we're going to do grilled bratwurst today with a roasted shallot and honey mustard that we're going to drizzle over top of the bratwurst when we're done. We have these beautiful bratwursts here that were provided for us. These were donated by our friends at Dietz & Watson. Unbelievably delicious bratwurst, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and the best part about these is that they're fully cooked, and so they cook really fast. They're plump and juicy. They cook in about 5 minutes. Really great for a nice quick meal for our families here at the house. So to do these bratwurst, we're going to do them on a direct grilling method. But to go with the bratwurst, we're going to roast some shallots first. So I have some shallots here today, and we've peeled the shallots and halved the shallots. What we're going to do is take a little olive oil and just put a little drizzle of olive oil over our shallots. A little pinch of kosher salt. Crack of black pepper. We're just going to toss these around a little bit, kind of shake them up in the oil. And then on our grill here, Same like the Spatchcock chicken, we're going to use this upper area in the middle to do a roast on these shallots. It'll take about 15 minutes and they'll get a really nice char and be soft and sweet and delicious. Just let them go there. A few minutes, they'll be ready to eat. Yeah, so we're going to put these bratwursts on the grill. These are going to go on direct heat. So we have our grill set up with direct heat here and direct heat here. We're going to start on this side and just lay them on diagonally over our grates, front to back. When you're working with direct heat, again, this is medium-high, the heat right now, so it's pretty high. When you're working with direct heat, you just want to make sure that you're kind of paying close attention, looking for things like flare-ups, looking for hot spots. You might need to move your meat around a little bit on the grill or your vegetables, whatever you're working with, just to make sure that you're getting just the right cooking that you're looking for. So now these bratwursts have been on for about a minute. And what you want to do here is you want to change the direction on the grill so you can put some nice grill marks on them. And what I see is that, you know, the grill is cooking a little bit slower here, so we can actually crank up the heat on this side. Those will be ready to flip in about a minute, and they'll be ready about 2 minutes after that. So our bratwursts have been on for about 2 minutes now. We're just going to give them a quick flip. You can see they've got a nice little char on one side, skin's starting to blister up, and so you can see the color on the bratwurst. I'm a little less color in the back and a little more color in the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the one from the back up to the front so we can get mixed in so they're all kind of cooking at about the same time. So there's going to take a couple more minutes on the other side, and we're just going to let them go. In the meantime, we have this beautiful asparagus right here. It's been washed and cleaned already. And so when you're working with asparagus in the spring is beautiful. When you're working with asparagus, it cooks really fast. And so that's why we're going to use a direct cooking method with asparagus, because it's going to cook super fast. And we don't want to cook it too long. We want to just get the heat through it enough so that it's a little bit flexible and easy to cut with a fork, but not so much that it doesn't lose its nice green color, and all of the nutrients that are inside. So what we want to do is we want to take our knife, work with as many as you can comfortably. We're going to cook all of this, but I'll just start with a few pieces here. And you start with the knife at the back of the asparagus, and you want to come up about 2 inches and cut that off. We can just discard that. So again, use your hip if the asparagus is falling off the table. You start with the knife at the back and come up about 2 inches. I have a sheet tray under here. So we're going to put all of our asparagus on the sheet tray, nice single layer. Just like we did with the shallots, we're going to give a little drizzle of olive oil, some salt, a couple cracks of pepper, just give them a little shake around. I can see our bratwursts are blistering up nice, and you can see the juices coming up to the top of the skin. It's all excited and getting happy. They're just about ready to go. So now we have this other side good and hot, and we're going to lay our asparagus in directly over the flame. I think that's about enough. And we're just going to let that go, close the grill up. You don't want to be in and out of the grill too many times. Every time you open the grill surface, you're letting all of that heat that you've created. And again, we're cooking this spatchcock chicken, so we want to keep the heat relatively consistent in there. So you don't want to be in and out of there too much, but for the sake of doing things like bratwurst and asparagus that cook relatively quickly, you do need to move quickly. All right, so our bratwursts are fully cooked and ready to go, looking delicious. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our bratwurst and set them up here, out of the way, just so they stay happy. They won't continue cooking at the same rate. They're kind of just going to go with our other shallots that are up there. Our asparagus is going nicely back here, getting a nice char on it. That's just about ready. So while we finish up the asparagus, I was able to do some shallots a little bit earlier. And so after about 15 minutes, this is what your shallots are going to look like after roasting, and you see they get a nice char, and it really brings out the sugar and the sweetness. So what we're going to do, we're going to put these shallots on our cutting board. And what we're going to do is we're just going to give them a quick chop. Nothing fancy about this. You just want to get them into little pieces so they kind of blend in nice with the mustard. And you want all those good charred bits in there. You want to make sure that you're getting some of that good flavor off of the grill in with this mustard. Okay. So now our shallots are nice and chopped up there. We're going to move them into our bowl. We have this delicious whole grain mustard. Say that was about a half a cup. Some honey. We're going to do about 2 tablespoons of honey. Then you're just going to mix this all together. Beautiful. Shallots are all mixed in. Honey's mixed in. This is going to make a great sauce for our brats. So, let's check on our asparagus, and then we'll be ready to plate the brats up. All right, so our asparagus is just about ready. Our bratwursts are ready. We've made our shallot mustard. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our asparagus off of the grill here. You can see they have a really nice char on them. We haven't messed with them too much, just kind of moved them around over the direct heat just to make sure they get a nice char and that they're cooked, but they're tender. Have that beautiful flame grilled flavor. So to finish the asparagus, what we have is some reduced balsamic vinegar here. And so this is balsamic vinegar that you just take a nice good balsamic vinegar and you put it in a sauce pot, put it over medium heat until it comes up to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, and you just let it go until you get this consistency. When you're cooking it and it's hot, this is room temperature. This is how the consistency that you're looking for. You're going to want to pull it off the heat when it's a little thinner than this. And as it cools, it'll come down to this kind of consistency. So what we want to do here is just take a little of this balsamic vinegar and just drizzle that over your asparagus. Just a little bit. You don't want too much. And that'll work in that flavor, a little bit of acidity and a little bit of sweetness to go with your asparagus. Grilled asparagus. So now we're going to plate our bratwurst up. You know, during the pandemic, we've really had to switch off and like I said earlier, make all of the meals for our families as a food services team. But we can't be here 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You know, we have to give our team some time to rest up and get ready for the next day. And so there's occasions when we need to have outside folks come in and help us with our dinners. And we have these wonderful rolls here by Lysio's that we're going to use for our bratwurst today. But Lysio's, besides donating these rolls for us, has also been tremendous with helping our families. They've provided almost every dinner on Saturday nights since the pandemic began, providing wonderful meals, prepackaged. It gives our staff a chance to take a break, and they come in, they deliver them, and we set them up, and the families get an awesome meal every Saturday night. So thanks so much to Lysio's for helping us out during these hard times. So, got a good bread knife here. We're just going to cut little slits in our rolls. Pop the roll open. We're going to grab our brats. And now we take our shallot honey mustard. Grilled bratwurst with shallot honey mustard. All right, so like I said earlier, this chicken was a little on the big side, a little more than 4 pounds. Took us about an hour and 15 minutes, but she's ready to go here. I'm gonna pop the chicken off, set it on my sheet tray here. And we don't want to get into carving this right away. So you want to let it rest for just a few minutes, give it a couple seconds. Molecules are racing around, everything is all excited inside the chicken from the heat, and so you want to get it just a rest. Just settle down, let all the juices recirculate, so that when you carve it, all the juices stay inside the chicken instead of running out all over your cutting board, and everybody gets to enjoy a nice juicy piece of chicken instead of a dried out piece of chicken. So the chicken is here, we're going to let that rest for a second. And we're going to make our barbecue sauce for the chicken. So this barbecue sauce from North Alabama is about the simplest barbecue sauce you could ever make, but it's very different from probably every barbecue sauce you've ever tried. It's 4 ingredients: mayonnaise, vinegar, salt and pepper. About as basic as you can get. So we have some mayonnaise here, we have just some plain white vinegar, kosher salt, black pepper, going to take a mixing bowl, the rubber spatula and a whisk. Going to put our mayonnaise in. A little bit of vinegar. You start with a little bit. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. Nice pinch of salt. A few chunks of black pepper. And you just want to get this started, coming together. You can make it as thin or as thick as you like. The thicker, the more mayonnaise-y it'll be. The thinner, the more vinegary it'll be. I tend to kind of like it right in the middle. We'll add a little bit more vinegar. Oh yeah, that's it. Super simple, super easy. When you get it to about that point, I like to switch over to a whisk just to get any of the clumps out. Make it nice and smooth. Taste it. Dynamite. All right. So we got our barbecue sauce ready. And so now we'll break down the chicken. Get our platter here. So when you're breaking down a chicken, spatchcock chicken like this, I generally like to start with the thighs. So I start with the legs back towards me. And if you just lift the leg up a little bit, another thing, you want to make sure that your chicken is fully cooked. And so you want to make sure when you're working with any poultry products like this, that you want to make sure that it's an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees, and you insert your meat thermometer into the deepest section of the thigh to get that reading. Like I said, this chicken was on for about an hour and 15 minutes. And just from experience, I can tell just by touching the legs, when it's ready. But at home, you just want to make sure you're safe and check it with an instant read thermometer. So I start with the leg and I lift the leg up. The skin will easily separate, but with the knife, you just kind of go in and pull the leg back like that. And if the chicken's cooked right, that's just going to come off just like that. And you can see how juicy it is inside. Beautiful. We let it rest and the juice stayed right where we wanted it to. So then I turn the chicken around and I do the other leg. Again, you just lift it off, let the knife go in. The whole thigh is just going to come right off. You set the rest of the bird aside. Now you have a thigh and a drumstick. There's a joint right between the thigh and the drumstick. So if you put the knife right at the joint, it's very easy for them to separate. Again, there's a joint right in the center. You just run the knife right through. Goes through no problem. Then for the breast and the wing, you cut right down the center. Split the breast. Sometimes that breastbone, because we kept it on there, is a little tough. You just take the back of your hand and you go right through. So now we have two breasts and wings. What I like to do is keep the wings attached and just cut the breast in half. So we cut close to the wing on a diagonal like this. So you get a big portion of the breast and then you get a smaller portion of the breast attached to the wing. So again, you go close to the wing on a diagonal, straight down, and right through that breastbone. Oh, this is so juicy. Same way on the other breast, close to the wing on a diagonal, straight down, and right through the breastbone. So there it is, North Alabama BBQ chicken, spatchcock style, with the North Alabama white barbecue sauce. So you can't have a Memorial Day grill party without having Memorial Day grilled dessert. So we're going to do grilled pineapple today with a honey drizzle and a coconut and graham cracker crumble that we top with a little vanilla ice cream. So what we're going to do, just like we were talking about our indirect and direct cooking, we're going to take a little aluminum foil. Right here I have some coconut chips. This is desiccated coconut. It's not sweetened, it's just natural coconut flakes. You can use angel flake coconut here for this recipe, but I would recommend coconut chips if you can find them. It's just going to give you a more natural flavor without all that extra sweetness. And they also toast up a little bit better. All of the sugar that's in the angel flake makes it go from not cooked to burnt very fast. So we just want to make sure that we're not overcooking this. We just want to put a little toast on our coconut chips. So that indirect cooking, we're going to take our coconut chips and put them up on this top level, but right in the center. And they're going to toast up in about 1 minute. While that's toasting, we're going to take our pineapple. Pineapple's already been washed. We're going to cut the top off, cut the bottom off, and then cut it in slices. And we're going to let the slices be about a ½ inch thick. Try to get them, if you can, so that they're a ½ inch all the way through. All right, so it's only been about a minute. You can see our coconut here, beautifully toasted, still a little bit white, and then brown on the edges. And what you want to do is take it and get it off of the aluminum foil so it has a chance to cool off quickly. There's our toasted coconut. So now we take our pineapple that we've already sliced. We'll do 3 slices to start so you can see. What I have here is a hole cutter. It's just going to make this a nice pretty circle cut here on our pineapple and make it easier to peel. But of course you could just take a paring knife and go right around the edge to peel this if you like. But the circle cutter makes it nice and easy. You center it up, push it in, and then you have a nice circle cut piece of pineapple. And then you take another circle cutter, a little bit smaller, to remove the core in the center. You don't want to eat the core because it's really fibrous and won't be very appetizing. All that sweet, juicy pineapple's on the outside. So now we have our pineapple rings ready to go. We have our grill good and hot. We're going to give it a quick brush. Just to make sure any of the other bits of things we've been cooking today don't end up on our sweet pineapple. And we're just going to lay that down. This is going to cook really fast. You don't want to try to cook the pineapple very long, kind of like the asparagus, but even faster over that direct heat. We're just trying to put a nice sear on the pineapple so that it has some of that char flavor and bring some of the sweetness out, but we're not trying to cook it all the way through. All right, so the pineapple's been on for about 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and we're going to just give it a quarter turn here. So we put some nice grill marks on the pineapple. This is really for presentation more than that it's super important for the cooking, but we still want to make sure that it looks great as well as tasting good. And that'll take just another minute longer. So our pineapple's been on for about a minute. We're just going to flip it over. Look at those beautiful grill marks. And while that's finishing up on the other side, we're going to make our graham cracker crumble. So I have a mixing bowl here. Just some regular old graham crackers. We're just going to take the graham crackers and put them in the bowl, crumble them up. Nothing fancy about it. You can make this as fine or as chunky as you like. It's really personal preference. I like to have kind of a mixture of the big crumbles of graham cracker and then some finer bits of graham cracker, just for a texture feel. All right, so our graham crackers all crumbled up. Now we're going to take our coconut, add that into the graham cracker, and just give that a toss around. So now our pineapple's done. And so we're going to take our pineapple in for our final presentation and plate up inside. All right, so for the last thing today, we have our finished grilled pineapple right here. And the way that I like to finish this dessert is I take a nice piece of the grilled pineapple. You can serve this cold, room temperature, or hot right off of the grill. Take some of our honey that we have and just give a little drizzle of honey right over top. Take some of our graham cracker coconut crumble. And then nothing better than a nice big scoop of ice cream. A little more honey. A little more crumble. And just a couple pieces of toasted coconut. And then we have this lovely mint from our garden. And there it is, grilled pineapple with a honey drizzle, graham cracker coconut crumble, little fresh mint. And that closes out this episode. And what we've made for today, we made North Alabama Spatchcock chicken with white barbecue sauce. We made grilled bratwursts, complimentary of Dietz & Watson, with roasted shallot, whole grain mustard, and honey. We did grilled asparagus with reduced balsamic vinegar. And then our grilled pineapple with a honey drizzle, vanilla ice cream, and graham cracker coconut crumble. So that's our episode for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and look forward to having lots more shows in the future and showing you how we do things at the Ronald McDonald House. This first episode of Served with Love was sponsored by Zurich. We'd also like to thank the following companies for their support. Lynx Grills for donating our beautiful grills. Caroline and Jim Coleman for underwriting the construction of our grilling station. Dietz & Watson for continuously donating food for our families and underwriting our meals grab-and-go area. Lissio's Bakery for continuously donating bread for the meals we provide and also providing meals on Saturday nights for our families for the last 9 weeks. And Chicago Metallic for providing cooking sheets and bakeware that we use every day in the kitchen. For more information like recipes and ingredients, or information on how you can support our food service program, please visit us on the web at www.philarmh.org/chefjared. You can also contact me with questions by email at chefjared@philarmh.org. Thank you.